Hello, everybody. Stu Smith here, going live. I hope you are doing well today. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good Father's Day. Hope your father had a good Father's Day, if he's still with us. Anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about stress because you can't get away with it. Life is just filled with it. Doesn't matter if it's work stress, money stress, family stress, personal stress, doesn't matter. Stress is stress, and the hormones that are created because of that need to be dealt with, and they need to be, maybe you didn't hear me, need to be dealt with naturally. So, um, the way to do that is try to avoid burning the candle at both ends. So, for instance, if you have a loved one who gets really sick and they're in the hospital, that is going to change how you operate from day to day for potentially significant amount of time. That is a lot to deal with. So what do you do with it? Some people may say, I just need to go into workout and just crank out a hard one. They do a high intensity workout, and sure, it feels good while you're doing it. You're just pissed off getting a hard workout in, and sometimes that is some significant fuel to really push you through types of workouts. But in the end, it can lead to that stress candle burning from the both ends now, and then you just fall apart because now you are under recovering, not really dealing with the stress naturally and physiologically, and it could even become a psychological issue and build up, and you have to deal with it psychologically. So my advice is this: when you are burned out, whether you are a student, you work full time, you got a family, bosses causing you all kinds of problems, illness in the family that is really sucks. If you have those, my advice is don't burn yourself out on the other end of that candle, because every workout is a stressor. And as your body recovers from that stress, you get stronger. My advice is take that high stress day, week, whatever the length is, and get in something quick and simple, something you need to work on, practice a technique, practice some lower intensity activities, slow walking or walking, slow jogs, biking, stretching. Mobility day is a great one. In fact, we have had to just prescribed um, just a week of mobility days for one guy who was dealing with some family um, illness, and he was just burned out, still had to go to work. And I was just like, you know what? You got a lot of balls up in the air. Let's go easy and just try to naturally deal with that by engaging what is called the parasympathetic nervous system versus keep firing that sympathetic nervous system. And if you're not really familiar with what I'm talking about, just search central nervous system, parasympathetic, sympathetic, and you'll see we have two different systems in our body. One, sympathetic, is speed up. At S, think about it like speed up. It is wiring us for fight or flight, survival, basic instincts of just pushing hard and getting through this stressful event. The other one, the parasympathetic, is also nicknamed the rest and digest side of that nervous system, and they do need to be balanced. So, what you can do with that is engage that parasympathetic nervous system by relaxing, um, stretching, meditation, yoga, jogging. Some lower intensity zone 2 type workout can be very helpful for you to metabolize those stress hormones that you have created through no fault of your own. It is just stress, and that is what life is. Um, keep it keep it down a notch, and you'll probably feel better on the at the end of that stress than now you haven't really recovered well because you're missing sleep and it's interfering with your sleep, and it just snowballs down to a point where now you're overtraining slash under recovering, and you're still having to deal with that stress. So give it a shot. If life gets in the way of your hard planned workout, take it down a notch. Don't feel bad for taking it down a notch. I've done a week of mobility days before, and they are very helpful. So there you go. That's my little intro speech to you guys. I hope you guys have some questions, because I'm ready to take some questions, give some answers. I'm here for probably the next 30 minutes or so. So bring in your questions as you got them. I'll be back tomorrow for a swim critique show, same time. But I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to bring up that important topic. I've written a couple of articles about it. In fact, the article I put in the description of this video over here on YouTube has has some good reads in it. In fact, I'll put the link to it over here in Instagram as well. It's called, The Balance of Life, Work, Training, Stress, and Recovery, Stress Mitigation. So check it out if you got any questions. What's your opinion to recover from Achilles pain? Well, if it's just Achilles pain, my advice is just rest. Um, avoid stretching it, because you probably injured it by stretching it. So you will stretch that if you do a jump, if you do a sprint, if you're running up a hill fast, even if you're bear crawling, sometimes it can stretch that Achilles. So watch out for things that you are doing that are stretching it. No box jumps, no sprinting, no jumping, change of directions, things like that. So avoid all of that. If you wanted to run, you probably still could, but I would still pull back for a couple of days and maybe just, um, bike, swim. But you got to watch off, even with swimming, kicking off that wall can also stretch the Achilles. So, um, yeah. I don't think I've written any articles on Achilles pain, but my advice is try to avoid stretching it, do more massaging and foam rolling if you need to. Maybe put a little ankle brace or um, ace bandage around that area, and see if that helps you with being able to still do something, but just try to be less aggressive on some of the more explosive activities you're doing. What's your thoughts on SOCOM athlete events or operator associate events? Yeah, I think they're great. If you want to do them, give them a shot. I think they're a good way to test your resolve. How do you like being yelled at and told to perform at the highest levels you probably ever have before? You're wet and you're cold and you're sandy. Got to work together as a team. That will tell you real quick what some of your strengths and weaknesses are that have nothing to do with PT tests and weight lifts and timed runs and timed swims. So for that reason, I think those are great tools to assess yourself. What's the oldest person you've trained that's definitely made it into Spec Ops? 42, Air Force, Special Warfare. Do you have any articles on shin splints? Yes. In fact, you can Google it there, Marshall. Google Stu Smith shin splints, because that's what I'm about to do. Shin splints, Stu Smith, and look what the Google machine puts out. I got like 3 articles on there, but the first one that pops up is a really good one. I'll put a link to it in there. It's written by one of my friends who is a doctor of physical therapy. I'll put it over here in Instagram as well. My advice is read that one first and then read the second one that I posted up on military.com, as it is pretty good. Let's see. I think I missed a few questions over here. What are your standard ways guys across SOCOM deal with stress? Bury it, ignore it, drink it away. Um, I think we're getting a lot better because there is some resiliency training that has occurred throughout the years. And I think people are getting better at dealing with it physiologically, which the ways I just told you was, nice steady state cardio, relax, yoga, meditation, all of those are great ways to just calm yourself down, get in the present, stop worrying about the future anxiety and the previous depression of the past, and just be in the present. So yeah, there's some drinking away, yeah, but that's really no way to deal with it. Um, um, so there you go. Just went to the 19th group SOCOM athlete event in Colorado. Oh, wait. And this Saturday is in Tampa. Jason's awesome. Yeah, I think he's great. Had him on one of my podcasts, too. Two through and after. You can find it on the Tactical Fitness Report. My cousin's having trouble sticking to a workout plan. He goes in to work 3 days of the week and the rest of the week from home. Told him only work out on the days he works from home. Is that a good strategy? I think that's a great strategy. That still gives you 4 days of the week to work out. And even if there's nothing wrong with working out on a work day too, but if he's having problems sticking to it, I would say go towards the least resistance at first, where you do your workouts on days you're not busy. And then as you start to build that habit, start throwing in an extra one on a day that you do have to go to work, and maybe make it a before you wake up early, get a little something done, then go to work. And then you start building that as a habit over time. That's what I do just about every day. I work out before I go to work. And it's nice. What do you think about getting a steroid shot for fluid in your knee? I'll be shipping out for buds in the next 3 weeks. Should I get an MRI to take a steroid shot or reduce the fluid? I don't know, man. That's a tough one. And the steroid shots be like cortisone, which probably just take away some of the pain and inflammation. I would probably go there, um, but that's not healing anything. That's just masking pain. So, luckily for you, boot camp, um, is also somewhat of a taper. So you can actually rest your knee at boot camp significantly. You'll stand at attention a lot, but you're not going to be doing a lot of running at Navy boot camp. So compared to your training now, it might be considered a nice little taper for you. Oh no, that's a tough one. Do you think it's too much to do a 4 day of lifting in conjunction with your Navy SEAL Phase 1 program? Yeah, I don't recommend it at all, because you'll get good at neither one of them. So my advice is, if you want to get good at the PST, let's just take a cycle and focus on the PST. Drop the lifts. I'm serious. Unless you want to just kind of stagnate at both your lifts and your PSTs, you can add more lifting to it. Something you could do though, and I'll make this compromise with you. It's very similar to what I do in the spring training or the seasonal tactical fitness programs. Is if your goal is to crush a PST, I have a compromise for those folks, and it works really well to do 3 weeks of the PST program as written and then stop it, and week 4 do a week of your lift cycle. Maybe cut your running in half, cut your reps in half, just add some weight and do it that way. And then after that week, start back on the program with week 4. So this is just called a block periodization model, where if you're worried about losing strength gains, do 3 weeks of the PST program, 1 week of a strength training program, 3 weeks of a cows and cardio program, 1 week of a strength training program. That works really well. And it's more of a maintenance plan for your strength, but you'll see improvements on your PST. The other way is just focus on your PST, and be honest with you, you're not going to lose a whole lot of strength even in a 12-week PST cycle. You come back in 4 to 6 weeks, you're back at your old lift numbers. So just depends on what you need to do. My advice is, if you need to crush your PST, focus on the PST. If it doesn't look like the PST, you're probably not going to get better at the PST if you're doing it. Any good motivational books you recommend to read? I mean, if you like Navy SEAL stuff, the history book by Water Beneath the Wall is really good, by Ben Milligan. I really like that one. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think what I'm reading right now. I'm reading this one. It's not that motivating, but it is to me: Integrated Periodization in Sports Training Athletic Development, written by some very smart exercise physiology dudes. Um, so that motivates me. So it depends on what you're trying to get motivated for. Yeah. So um, I don't. Any of the Navy SEAL books are pretty exciting. Dick Couch has some great ones. I read all of his prior to going to Buds, and even after Buds, I was still reading them. Um, yeah, Dick Couch and Ben Milligan. Look up those two names, and you'll see several really good books. Do you have any students who train that aren't heading down the Spec Ops path? 37 and training for my first triathlon. Yeah. In fact, I have people that I'm training that are just trying to lose 100 pounds. No Spec Ops in sight. Um, post heart attack. Some guys are preparing for a triathlon. Got a couple of dudes that do obstacle course races. So it's just a wide variety of folks I coach. Let's see. How about lifting once a week to maintain good enough strength standards you write about? That's an option. But I'm telling you, if your goal is to crush a PST, focus on the PST. You're not going to lose a lot of strength. You'll be surprised. You'll actually be, after doing a cows and cardio cycle, you're going to improve your endurance and muscle stamina, which will make the next strength cycle you do even better, because now you're not burned out after let's say a set of 5x5. You can actually, that's almost like, hey, I got more juice in the tank. Let's do another set of 5. Let's do another set of 5. You might even be able to, increase the volume of your strength training to a degree, because you're in better lifting shape. So really just depends on your goals, man. About your first phase, and it's awesome, running sub 9.5 miles. Hey, that's awesome. First phase, Navy SEAL PST. Oh, sorry, Navy PST. This is all PST prep here. So it's SEAL, SWIC, EOD, diver, rescue swimmer, SART. All have to take that test. So it's a good one. If you want to crush the PST, that's how I focus on the PST. Do you recommend a slight undulation dolphin kick during an underwater? Sure. I like to do that. In fact, I kick off the wall, do a little dolphin kick, big double arm pull right after that dolphin kick. Then hold that glide, kick and recover, little dolphin kick, pull real hard with a breaststroke pull out again. Yes, that's the way I do it. In fact, I got videos of me doing it. Just Google Stu Smith underwater swim. Opinions on training with meniscus tear and a knock knee. I don't know, man. I would probably take it easy. Wear a compression sleeve, strengthen your knee. I'd talk to a physical therapist personally. Tips on long distance running past 4 miles. I start to lose stride past 2 miles. Well, slowly start building your volume. You know, it doesn't have to be do a 6, 8 miler. You know, instead, try to do a few days of 4 mile runs. Right after two, walk a little bit and then run two more. Um, so find ways to add volume logically to your week. So if you add up all the runs that you do in a week, and let's say it's 10, now the next logical step to that would be about 15% addition. So you're going to add another mile and a half, 2 miles to your week. So whether that is, so let's say 11 and a half to 12 miles now is your next week's running totals. You're going to find a place to put in another mile and a half to 2 miles that week. It could be on one day, you can spread it out over all of them. Eventually, you're going to start getting better at running, but it requires you to practice running in order to get better at running. Can we come join in person with training with you for a week? If you are preparing to serve, I have a free training program for people who are preparing to serve, military, law enforcement, firefighters, some form of public service. And it's free. So yes, you can. Go to heroesoftomorrow.org and you will see our schedule. We train 6 days a week, 2 days sometimes because of our pool scheduling. Let's see, what do we have here? Yep, Way of the Seal. That's a good one. I like Mark. He did a good job with that one. That's another good book. If warm-ups are sloppy because of exhaustion, but the actual workout and cool downs are fine, would you recommend a rest day or keep going until the workout is sluggish? That's a good question. I usually use the warm up as an indicator of how hard I'm going to push in my workout. So if my warm up starts off a little sluggish, and then within 5, 10 minutes of that warm up, I'm feeling pretty good, I'm going to push pretty hard. However, give that 10-minute warm up a try, and let's just say I'm still not feeling it, something aches on me, I may do a little extended warm up and focus on that ache, whether that is stretch a little more, foam roll a little more, do an exercise that works it a little more, whatever that is. Could be glute, hamstring, knee, whatever. And let that 10 to 15-minute warm up indicate how hard I'm going to push on the rest of the workout. If that makes any sense. I leave at the end of the month for Army Basic. Nice. And then I'm off to engineer diver school. Sweet. Do you have any advice for me to prepare for the last bit of time I have? Yeah, my advice is, you're going to Army, so make sure you're running. You're going to do a CFT. Make sure you practice all the events of the combat fitness test. It's a deadlift, it's a medicine ball throw, it's a shuttle run, it's a drag sprint. You got to do plank pose, reverse, hand release push ups. That's what I would do. And swim. If you're doing a diver program, you definitely want to swim and tread and swim with fins for sure, because you're going to be doing some pool competency testing there in that dive school. You have previously recommended me to do a triathlon training to increase aerobic base for basic training after powerlifting career. What are your thoughts on CrossFit for that same purpose? Eh. You will build up more muscle stamina than strength compared to your powerlifting career in CrossFit. So, in that sense, it may be good. But if you want to get better at your aerobic base, my advice is to do something that is cardio based activity. That means run, ruck, swim, bike, row, elliptical, whatever that is, you just need to put in the time working your cardio. CrossFit is going to be a mix of a little bit of everything, which isn't bad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying you, coming from a powerlifting base, probably don't need to touch a weight at all and just do your cardio and calisthenics. Let's see. How many guys go to the teams to actually do the job versus Pride, Glory, Navy SEAL? I don't know. Never asked. I mean, maybe 80% go for Pride because that's 80% don't make it. The ones that really want to do the job make it, I guess. I don't know. Never thought about that question. Um, would you describe the difference between dynamic and normal stretching, the end goals of each, and how they are different in practice? I don't have enough time in this quick Q&A to differentiate the two for you. Um, but here's the deal. Dynamic stretching, I like to do as a warm up. So when I'm doing an upper body day, I'm going to do very low reps, one or two pull ups, two or three push ups, go for a little jog for 50 yards, do some high knee raises, butt kickers, things like that. My goal doing that is to warm up my joints and muscles to handle more volume of pull-ups and push-ups and upper body activities, and we'll be running as well, so trying to warm up my hips and knees and ankles and muscles of the legs to get ready for running. That's what dynamic stretching is for. Normal stretching or static stretching, I typically do at the end of a workout. However, depending on how my dynamic stretching goes, I may have to, before I get into my workout, do a little bit of static stretching on a particular muscle group that may not be feeling 100%. For me, when I go running, I'll do a little warm up with a squat pyramid, like I just mentioned, one squat, jog a little, high knees, butt kickers, all that stuff. And then I'll run a mile. And by the end of that mile, I feel like I need to stretch my calves just a little more. So I'll stretch my calves, Achilles, back of my knees, base of my hamstrings, and I'll do that with some static stretches. And at the end of that workout, I will mix in some static stretches after, a decrease in intensity and move into a cool down phase and add static stretching. Does that make sense for you? There's a lot to that question that if you ask the Google machine, you will see countless articles and scientific studies on all of them. Good morning, Stu. I've been swimming with small fins as my ankles have been healing. Today will be fin swim with rocket fins in a couple of months. First one. What do you recommend the distance I should do? My advice is swim until your ankles are uncomfortable slash painful. Then take off your fins, and just swim more laps without them, whether that's CSS or freestyle, kind of up to you. Give yourself a little time, maybe 10 minutes of swimming without them. See if you can put them back on. See if you can do half of what you did before. So let's say you swam 500, your ankles hurt, take them off, swim another 10 minutes without them, put them back on, see if you can swim 5 minutes the next time before they start hurting. And then that time's going to get bigger and bigger. um, as you get used to it, and get your ankles more mobile for that. Swimming 2 miles side stroke with fins in the sea under 60 minutes is difficult or not? Question mark. Yeah, it's pretty difficult, especially big fins, because they're not really built for speed. They're more built for power of getting through tides and currents. Um, so you're fighting some mother nature in that. 60 minutes in a pool might be a lot easier than 60 minutes when you have to swim straight and you're fighting some tides going against you at some point. Um, 60 minutes, it's been done. People have broken 60 minutes on that. I mean, that's a 30-minute mile, which is not world class by any means. I think I was in the low 60s. I don't think I ever broke 60, but I was 62, 63 on those swims most of the time. So not that difficult, as long as you swim straight. I just did a solo 3 nights, 4 days in the woods of West Virginia. Dang, nice. Backpack 30 miles. Mentally exhausting, even though all I did was walk and camp. Great experience. Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah. It's nice to get out there and go back to your caveman roots. Let's see. I'm going to Swick. Buds is not BCS, and vice versa. Can you describe the biggest difference between the two courses and how you would prep differently for them? Be honest with you, the people I have helped get to Swick did everything all the Buds guys were doing. They ran, they swam, they did load bearing activities with rucks on soft sand, PT'd, lifted. They did everything the same, and they did well going through SWIC training. So I really don't have a difference for the two. Now, is Buds harder than SWIC? I think yes, to a degree, but SWIC is still really hard. I mean, it is run by people in the community, and they have a high standard for getting people into the community. So I wouldn't train differently, to be honest with you. Train hard and work on your strength, your power, your speed, agility, obstacle courses. You'll need those for that. Muscle stamina, endurance, flexibility, mobility, run, ruck, swim, treading, underwater stuff. All of those are very important for you. My advice is do them. Prior warm up questions. I'm a strength based athlete, so the burpees and other warm ups like that are a little sluggish. That is why actually workout is fine. Does a clarification help? Yeah, I guess a little bit. Let's see what Ryan says. Ryan has a way of making all of what I say in short, understandable little data points. So, dynamic stretching versus static. Dynamic stretching as a warm up, few push ups, butt kickers, run a mile. Static stretching, best for post workout. Sometimes static stretching is needed as a warm up. There you go. Great nutshell there, Ryan. Bravo. All right, let's see. We got any more uh, questions over here? Did I miss any? Not sure if I missed any or not. Yeah. All right. I think I got time for one more. So if you can, send in a video. If you can get a video of you swimming 50 meters, just go down and back. Have somebody walk with you alongside the pool. Send it to me. Happy to critique it for you. We'll have a show tomorrow on some of those submissions of CSS. All right. So today is our PST. We are testing and assessing. So if you're not assessing, you're just guessing. And that is what we are going to do this afternoon. We kind of had an easy workout this morning. And this afternoon, we're going to have a Navy PST given in the heat of the day. It's supposed to be hot out there, so make sure you're hydrating. Hydrate and electrolytes. It's going to be a rough next few days, pretty much all over the United States. Summer is here. In fact, this week is our summer transition. We're going to go from spring into summer training. Higher rep calisthenics, higher mileage. Going to get it done. Let's see. Do I critique anything else? Like run critique? Yeah, people have sent me runs before to critique. I've done that. I've done weight lifts. People sending me deadlifts. We'll critique that as well. So I can do that. I have a pool that is 10 meters. That's about 33 feet. Is that okay to do back and forth? Sure. It's just hard. I mean, it's real easy to kick off a wall and glide 10 meters. So, my advice is probably if you want to work on your stroke more, don't kick off the wall. But if you want to work just kicking off the wall, it's great for that. So that's what I would do. All right, folks. Sorry I have to end it a little bit early today. Got a lot of stuff going on and got to go do them. So if I missed your question, you can always email me. Just read this little section right down here. If I missed your question, you can email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Check out stewsmithfitness.com if you're looking for programs, more articles. And you can save 15% by using the coupon code LIVE15. So live15 or live15. LIVE15 saves you 15%. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.